So, but I got your point. I got Ashwin's and Prithvi's point of view. Ashwin, apart from mobilizing people, have you started mobilizing politicians too? After they are the main persons who will pass the bill or don't pass the bill. Have you ever got a chance to go to them, talk to them, explain to them?
We've talked to a lot of politicians. Uniformly, they want to be careful not to say something that may be contrary to their party opinion. Now, this is unfortunate. We live in a constituency-based democracy.
Yes.
Therefore, the expectation is that the representative of my constituency should have an independent view, which is the broad view of the constituents themselves. It cannot be that if I elect BJP, I'm endorsing BJP as a party, or if I elect Congress, I'm endorsing Congress as a party. Because every party has a variety of opinions on a variety of subjects. It can't be 100% of one or 100% of the other in any case. Therefore, it is important for our democracy that individual representatives become accountable to their constituents, not only on this bill, but on every bill. Unfortunately, this bill is the only time that individual constituents, representatives are being asked, what is your opinion? We carried out a referendum, as you know, in both Bangalore as well as in Chikbalapur. This is in response to the fact that the government said, we represent the people because we are the elected representatives. So we said, well, in that case, let us ask the people. When we asked people, we found that what the people of Chikbalapur are saying, what the people of Chandni Chowk are saying, is quite different from what their elected representatives are saying. Therefore, it is reasonable for us to ask, who do you represent?
Right. That's it.
I'm sure there are very many good people in Indian politics, but it's unfortunate that because we don't have a proportionate representation, that though we elect a person, in reality, that person cannot represent us because he needs to go with the party's position, or there is a party whip and he cannot vote against the whip.
Go with the people.
So it's very sad that our democracy has been reduced to a stage where even the good people who might want to support a good law don't have a voice because they are forced to go with the party's position on this matter.
This is ironic because in the original constitution, the phrase political party did not appear at all. It was introduced in the 1970s. The notion of parties came into the constitution much later. The original idea is only about citizens and representatives.
Ashwin, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, the independent MP, has introduced that private bill on Jan Lokpal bill. How does it help the movement? Can you just explain? By introducing a bill, what happens? Because very difficult for a common person to understand. If somebody, private member, introduces a bill on an issue like this, how does it help the movement?
I think two things. One, it's really great that at least one member of parliament is willing to say there is an alternate version of the law. Consider this version too. Don't dismiss it out of hand. Take it up for what it's worth, that this has a reasonable chance of fighting corruption, and that is not something you can say about the government's bill. We are very happy that Mr. Chandrasekhar introduced the Jan Lokpal bill. Now it is up to the Rajya Sabha to decide whether to have this listed for transaction in the House or not. Now, if the Rajya Sabha wants to, and I think this is the smart thing for the Rajya Sabha to do, is to allow the bill to be introduced for debate in the Rajya Sabha. Because you now have the possibility of reconciliation between two bills and the best thing emerging from it. If you out of hand discard the bill because you don't like it or you don't like the people who are supporting it, instead what you end up with is you have tied your hands. In the Parliamentary Standing Committee, for example, the Lokpal bill goes to Parliamentary Standing Committee. Now, the Lokpal bill as it currently stands does not create Lokayuktas in the states. Now, even a standing committee cannot change that fact. Standing committees can't overrule the basic structure of a bill that is introduced in Parliament. But if you now say, here is one version of the bill, and here is another version of the bill, in the process of reconciliation, you can get in provisions that are really good in the other version too.
That's a good idea. Rajiv Chandrasekhar has done.
Absolutely. I think it makes it possible for reconciliation. Now, the sort of legislation managers in the Congress now have to be sharp enough to see this opportunity and take it forward.
I think a very important aspect is that it's been introduced in the Rajya Sabha because the bill, if it's taken up for discussion, will not lapse because it's a perpetual house, and unlike the Lok Sabha where a bill will lapse if it's not passed within the term, I think it's an extremely interesting, and we thank Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar for this.